Hey everybody, Laura Phoenix here, and you're about to enjoy the second episode of Behind the Curtain. Now, this episode that you're about to see was filmed back on February 19th of 2017, and the reason it's just now finally coming out, we had some production issues, so thanks for bearing with us. Enjoy the second episode, and we'll have the third one out as soon as we possibly can. Ladies and gentlemen, right now we are outside the VFW Hall in Redford, Michigan. We are here for a very special show, but today I get to sit down and do the second episode of Behind the Curtain. I get the chance to sit down with the current reigning Great Lakes champion. He is the Flatliner, Scotty Freytown.
Woo, daddy, yeah, Scotty Freytown. What's up, girl?
What's
How you
up?
doing? How's everybody doing out there in TV land?
Alright, everybody, welcome to Behind the Curtain. Right now we are actually just wrapping up, finishing up doing the show in Redford. And
Ooh, daddy.
this man here was just in a triple threat with John Campbell and JJ Hughes, and just battling it out. And my goodness, you guys think you came back shortly after WrestleRama. Did you think that, you know, it would be like this for you? You all of a sudden just...
Oh, geez. When I came back, last year, last January, and man, I never expected to be like in the position that I am, because it's you know, you return from such a hiatus from a company, and a lot of times it takes a while for people to put their faith in you, and I came back and it was just, it's like I never left. You know, the fans have been just wonderful. I mean, people seemed so excited when I came back. The boys backstage seemed really ecstatic. I don't know what it was. There was a big group of them that were like, "Oh, I've heard a lot about you." "Oh, have you?" You know, I had no idea. So I mean, that type of thing was awesome.
Because the time that you walked away from here, was it back in was it 2016, 2015?
It was 2015. It was like the very beginning of 2015.
And you kind of had some like personal stuff going on.
Yeah. I had some personal things going on, and also we were in the midst of. It was I had won the UIWA tag team titles with Keith Calhoun, and Keith is just, I mean, you know Keith. He's a 20-year veteran, and the guy's incredible, and it was a great opportunity for me. I mean, we were traveling the country defending these titles, and you know, and I mean, we went to Wisconsin and Chicago and Indiana. We're traveling all over. I mean, at one point we held 3 different tag team titles. I thought it was like a really bad joke. I mean, well, poor Keith had 4. I thought it was just a really bad joke, because eventually my bag was like hurting my shoulder to pick it up, and I'm like, it's like all the promoters got together and like, let's just screw with these guys and see how it works out for them. Let's make their bags really heavy.
So even though you weren't here, you still kept yourself quite busy no matter what.
Oh yeah, and but at the end of the day, you know, this is home. The MWO is always home, and it's always been the home promotion. This is where, you know, my heart lies. This is where I want to be. And the fans are, there's no better fans out there. Our fans are very dedicated. The boys back here are very, very dedicated. They all, you know, this is the place where the heart and soul of wrestling is. A lot of people think it's places like WWE and things like that. This is where, like, the heart and soul of the guys that really love to do this come. So that's why.
And you can tell with every MWO show, and it doesn't matter what we do. Last year we did Rumble for Ruby, and the guys put we put our heart and soul into that show, and then WrestleRama, which is our biggest show of the year, and we did so many fundraising opportunities last year with everything. And then, but I mean, it's so funny because your thing here is it's more than just being a wrestler. You are actually also one of the trainers for our upcoming group of individuals that are coming into wanting to become a wrestler.
Oh yeah, and that was one of those things. My original phone call to Jason was, golly, it was 2 weeks before Christmas. I was out shopping with the Dark Star Logan. We were out and we were Christmas shopping, and we were at Bar Louie up at Great Lakes Crossing. There, we're sitting there having a couple beers before we go shopping, and as we're having a couple beers, Bertie, he kind of looks over and he goes,
cutting the rug.
"Why aren't you at MWO?" And I said, "Well, I'm you know, I haven't been back for a while." And he goes, "Well, are you ready to come back?" I said, "Yeah, I'm ready to go back up there. It's about that time." And he goes, "You need to go home." And I go, "What do you mean I need to go home?" He goes, "That's home. That's where you came from. You need to go home." And I said, "Oh, okay." And so I made a phone call to Jason, and I thought about Jason asked me, you know, "What do you want to do here? Well, what is your goal here?" And he goes, "Do you want to come back? Do you want to be a heavyweight champion? Do you want to be? What do you want to do?" And I thought about it a lot, and he said, "You know what, Jason? I really would love to just help your young guys, and I really would love to just, you know, be a trainer and get in there." I go, "I know you got guys that are probably running training right now, but I want to hop in and really teach these guys." And for a long time, you know, I wasn't ready to be a trainer because I was still kind of making my way through and still trying to learn different things, and you know, it turned into, hey, you know, I'm 10 years in the business now. Like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's start teaching people. And it was kind of funny to go backstage at different promotions, and you know, a couple of my guys from here came down, Tyler Dean and Tyson Dean. And
who have been a major addition onto the roster.
Those guys
themselves.
are assets, and I was teaching them, and they said, "Oh, let's come down to a different promotion and check it out." And those two guys came out, and a guy, Sam Farmer, comes walking up to me, and Sam had talked to me. It was my first year in the business, my first time out on the indies. Sam Farmer sits.
Anybody who's worked in Michigan knows who Sam is.
Sam sits down next to me, and he goes, my first time at a show, he goes, "So how long you been doing this, kid?" And I sat there and had about a 15-30 minute conversation with Sam Farmer. It was my first day in the 80s. And then about 10 years later, here I am standing there, and Tyson and Tyler Dean come walking backstage, and he goes, "Who are your boys? And, or who are you guys with?" "Oh, well, Scotty Freytown's guys." He goes, "Scotty, you have boys?" And I looked at him, I go, well, yeah, I've been doing this 10 years now, Sam. And he goes, "Oh my gosh, you have boys." And then these guys, they went out that show and just did they did a heck of a job. They took on Big Beast to that show. He came from Chicago, and they just did a hell of a job. And I was like, oh, I'm so proud. You know, just walking around happy.
And you can tell with like all the new kids that have come in, the Dean boys, the newest one being Chris.
Oh yeah. Chris O'Connor.
Yeah, Chris O'Connor coming in. He's the newest addition to everything. But just, you know, certain little aspects are all starting to kind of all meld together. And now here you are, you know, and now we're getting set to go into WrestleRama. You're going to get set to defend that Great Lakes belt and tear the house down like you always do.
Well, last year at WrestleRama, it was, you know, I've been on a couple WrestleRamas before, and it was always a little kind of ache to me. You know, I came in and I was just kind of there, and I didn't completely understand, you know, as a young guy, you know, getting into the business. You know, you're 5-6 years in, and you're just out there living for the moment, and you're just having some fun. And then when you get in there, you know, here I am. I'm approaching year 11, and in May I'll be 11 years in this business, and you don't recognize how big of a deal something like WrestleRama is until you start to cherish those little things.
And just with the way WrestleRama went last year,
Yeah.
it was you in it was for the
Fatal
television.
Four-Way.
Yeah, it was the Fatal 4-Way television title match. It was you and Havoc and Stuntman and what was it? It was there was one other.
Yeah, there's one other guy.
That's horrible because I think I know who it is too, and he's going to be so mad at me when he watches this.
Well, I mean, going into that match was huge too, you know. And they always tell you, you know, you don't. Jason always talks about having your WrestleRama moment, and everybody talks about having your WrestleRama. And I honestly, before last year, I never had a WrestleRama moment. I just kind of went out there and I had my match, and you know, my very first WrestleRama, I took on Eric Copeland, and I was so upset at myself because it was just. I had an abysmal match that day, and it was just a rough day, and I was bound and determined not to make that happen. With Havoc and Stuntman Mike and those guys. Jack Taryn.
That was it.
That's
Jack Taryn.
We were all in that match, and we were all talking about afterwards. A lot of people came up to me, and we were all talking about the match, and it just went so well. And we had our WrestleRama, and actually my WrestleRama moment was before the show, because we were having the pre-show meeting, and it was such a big thing. And for some weird reason, like a lot of the guys, and I mean, I understand I'm a trainer here and that's fine, but a lot of guys, they have started kind of looking up to me as that wily veteran type character, and I go, okay, and this is the time for me to speak up, and I kind of stepped out into the middle of the fray, and I looked over at Jason, and you could kind of see the look on his face like, that's your time. And I went on probably, arguably, the biggest rant of my career, and I walked away from that going, yeah, like that was my moment. And a few guys started coming up to me. I know Michael Reaver came up to me afterwards, and he goes, my WrestleRama moment, your speech. And he holds his arm up and he goes, goosebumps. Like,
I think everybody had goosebumps with that.
And it was huge. It was a huge moment for me.
That's awesome. And so, okay, so, step away from the wrestling aspect. What do you do with your off time?
Oh, this little man right here.
Mr. Cole.
Yeah, this is my life. This is my life force. This kid, everybody talks about, oh, my biggest supporters, and they always talk about fans and all this stuff.
The kids are always...
This kid is my biggest supporter, and I mean, everything that I do, I went out and won that Great Lakes title. As far as I'm concerned, this kid is just as much of a champion as I am, because he is.
That moment when you won the Great Lakes title and you brought him into the ring with you, I think everybody was pretty much in tears at that show.
He comes to the shows, and he takes the long car rides, and he just goes in there like a trooper, and he goes. And this kid he supports me every step of the way, and he's never once said, I don't want to go. We pack him in the car, I say, we're going to the wrestling show, and he says, okay. And he sits in that audience like a champ, and he just, I see a lot of kids that come to the shows, and they just, well, I don't know if I want to be there. And then this kid goes out there, and he just wants to see his daddy successful.
And it's so awesome because, I mean, him and Evan, oh my god, those two have become like the closest of friends. Like every time you see them, if they're remotely running around, they're right next to each other taking off. And it's so cool because, it's not very often that, kids coming up in the business have that kind of thing. So it's actually really, really cool. And you have a lot of fun at the shows, bud? Yeah.
And that's the thing that everybody talks about, like, you have your family, and everybody talks about you have your blood family, and I have my blood family, my mom, my dad, my brother, my son, my niece, my nephew, we have our family, our blood family, and then you come in there and then there's your wrestling family.
Yeah.
You come to these shows, and the guys at these shows are just as much family as my family.
Absolutely. But alright, I think, that about wraps it up for us. And
absolutely.
It's so quick that we just time just flew.
Yeah. I'll talk your ear off all day long.
All right, yeah, it's no problem. We might do this again.
Hey, I'd be all right with that.
Who knows? Maybe after WrestleRama.
Yeah.
All right, Scott. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anytime.
Right. And that does it for Behind the Curtain. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next episode.
Woo, Daddy.